Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 3 of our prologue episodes. I'm your boy, I'm the DM of this campaign, Nate. And joining me is a new face to maybe some of our fans. When I say fans, I mean the one fan we have who isn't my mom. Joining us at this table for this campaign is my old college roommate, Mr. Andrew. Say hi to the people, Andrew.
This is gonna be fun.
Um, I think that when we were in college, we had nothing, and really, I don't think either of us really even knew that D&D really existed. Both went our ways after college and found D&D in like completely opposite different places. And so when I decided to like try this campaign, I was like, oh, let's get Andrew in here because he's like one of the best storytellers I know. So I was like, oh man, this would be so fun to have him around. So he's going to be joining us.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's facts, all facts.
That's the beauty of D&D is the story, in my opinion. Like DMing a handful of years ago.
And
I like it.
I had heard tale and heard legends of a particular villain that Andrew had written into his campaign that I knew we needed a little flavor of on this one. So he's gonna be kind of breaking out that guy tonight. Before we get rolling, I do need to draw attention to our affiliate, which is Inked Gaming. If you guys are playing your own D&D, you can get anything you need on inkedgaming.com. Dice, minis, if you're into MTG, playmats, dice mats, all that stuff you can find on inkedgaming.com. You can follow our affiliate link here in the bio of this video as well. That's the nitty gritty of it. But let's get moving on to this campaign. As I like to say at the top of our sessions, this is the first time I'll say it to Andrew, but my good buddy Andrew, let's tell a story. We kind of come in. It's a pretty sunny day on the sea. You can take a deep breath, and you can almost taste the sea salt in the air. It's thick and it's heavy, as it should be after a major storm like the one you and your crew were just in. As we know, you are a captain of a mighty vessel. You look to your left and you see your first mate. His name is Weller. Tell me a little bit about what your character looks like, and then also tell me a little bit about your ship.
So, probably mid 40s. Already kind of going a little gray already. Kind of scruffier side. It's been a couple weeks, maybe a couple months. I kind of stopped counting how long I've been at sea. And I've never really stayed on shore long enough to really spend any time checking calendars. So either way, a little scruffier looking. But I'm a fond eye for nicer looking captain's coats and captain's jackets. So if you were to raid my closet, you'd find a plethora of nice, say, gifted to me. And the one I'm wearing today is blue with kind of the longer back to it. And um, as you would kind of see me, like you would, the ship that I'm currently on is one that again I would refer to as was gifted to me by the individuals who we just left. It's a longer boat. Am I correct? Do you have a description of the boat?
Yeah, it is. It's a full ship, man. This thing is, you know, about as big of a galleon as they come. It's manned by roughly 20 to 25 crew members, but I don't know. We can maybe check in with your first mate Weller for that. He actually has something to say. He says, "Aye, Captain, that was one wild storm. A few supplies lost, I think. The new guy, he's not really accounted for, but he owed quite a few people money, including myself. And I think he was cheating at cards, so I wouldn't think much of him in his return. Actually, I'd consider it a personal favor if you didn't really look into it and just kind of let this one go."
I'm going to be honest with you, Weller. I can't even recall it. So if he's decided to take a trip during the storm, then he took a trip.
Oh, he took a trip, all right, and he had some help, I'd say. All of a sudden, from the crow's nest, you hear the sound that you've been waiting for. You hear it. Land ho! Target ahead, Captain! You, Weller pipes up and kind of runs up to the rail there as you guys are both kind of there at the mast of the ship. And he says, "Oh, Captain, this score is going to be huge. The gold this village has been hoarding is going to make us rich, 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 rich. And we know they have some simple defenses, but honestly, Captain, this should be a pretty easy score."
Brother, what would you do with the money?
He smiles, ear to ear, revealing several missing teeth, and he'd say, "I'd replace my choppers, Captain."
Looks up and remind me, brother, what is the name of this place?
"Oh, this is Storm Crush Coast, Captain. There's a village up there, a little folk. They been holding a treasure. Mighty fine. They're a busy folk, very miners, and it seems they've struck a gold and for centuries have been just collecting it, not knowing it was of anything of value. We heard a story about it from one of the pubs we were at last time we were docking. We barely made it through that storm, but I think we're on this side of it now. I think it's about time to lift a bit of gold from their unknowing fingers."
Remind me, Weber, is there a princess or a prince or I was gonna go steal gold? Was that the game plan? I might have had a little bit much last night to remember. But,
Yeah, we
I'm not
don't know.
scared of no storms. I just
Yeah.
my way.
Aye, Captain. Nah, no, it's a small village, Captain. Nothing big, nothing major over here. Just, and that's kind of the beauty of it. It's kind of seems like it's a bit of a hidden gem here off the coast, and it doesn't really seem like there's a lot of defenses. Yeah, just kind of an old wives' tale that people kept thinking was a wives' tale, but I think my intuition's correct. I bet you there's gold in that village, and I think it's gonna be easy for the taking. It's barely this island's barely on any maps.
Well, that's why I made you my first man. So let's uh let's do this.
Aye, Captain. Why don't you go ahead and give me a perception check?
It is a 9.
9. All right. You look ahead and you can see sort of a cove met by a beachhead. On that beach, you see kind of a few huts and some pretty, I guess you could say, elaborately crude structures. They're all put together kind of the same. They're put together with care, but they're not made to really withstand anything other than the elements. They're huts. They're up off the water, off the beach a little bit. So when the tide does come, their homes are safe. And you see docks that are also very, very short. They don't actually have a need to go out very far because even with a 9, you can see that the cove that this village sits on the edge of, the water in that is very, very deep. Even their fishing boats look decently sized, and they are not far offshore, and they're not run up on the beachhead either. So even with a 9, you can tell that you can probably get as close as you want with your vessel without running the risk of running ashore.
Is there any walls or like houses right there on the beach? You said like obvious larger building stuff is kind of set back more
Um,
a little bit.
they're not set back far. There's a couple closer to the shore that seem to be uh, the purpose of them is to be there close to the boats. Maybe they are for repair or restoration. Maybe it's a little bit of a hub for when they bring in fish off their fishing boats. But it doesn't seem to be menacing in any way. It's not like a lighthouse. It's not like a watchtower. It's just kind of a building that's there.
Am I able to see kind of the edges like around it? Like it's not a huge.
Yeah, yeah, you can definitely see as the cove kind of flattens out to some of the other deep waters on the other side. You definitely could think, oh man, if I wanted to walk all the way around this island, it probably wouldn't take a full or half day. And even how many huts are there, it's very obvious that there's not even a lot of people who live here. How they got all their gold is very interesting and seems to be sort of a confusing mystery. But you are right. Weller has never steered you wrong before. He always kind of seems to know where the gold goes. And yeah, you do trust Weller, and he's been with you. Well, actually, you tell me, where did you meet Weller, and how long have you? How long has he been a part of your crew or your first mate?
Weller have any abilities, or is he human?
He is
What does
human.
Weller look like?
Yeah, Weller is a human. He is a kind of a short, fatter, stocky version of a human, but man, in a scrap, he is quick. He has always around his belt. He has a chain, and on the end of the chain is a hook. He's taken a few extra things with that hook, body parts or treasure, depending on the situation. He's seen battle. He's seen combat. But man, you get this guy laughing, and he is just a riot with a drink in his hand.
Say I've known him for like 2 years. I met him at a pub, and um, go out and say this was Weller's ship. Persuaded him enough that the more he hangs out with me, the richer he'll be, which he's kind of seen. I captained the ship, even though time was Weller's, and he basically like, we'll just say, like, oh, he kind of offered me to. I offered to drive the ship basically, and I've just kind of like commandeered it from him.
Yeah. Hey, Captain, just give the men your order, and that's why we're always following you, because you just know exactly what to go. That's why I'm still not entirely sure how you got to be the captain of this what was my ship, I thought. But here we are, Captain. What do you want us to do? Ooh, what do you want us to do?
Kind of clutching the wheel and kind of looking just straight forward. Just who's in the crow's nest?
Just some guy. Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna refer to him as crow's nest guy.
Yeah.
I kind of just steely-eyed, staring straight forward at the island. You in the nest. Let me know when we get close to shore. Just be, be honest. Be my eyes in the sky as we get closer and closer to shore.
You over the edge of the crow's nest, a man with one eye leans over and says, "Aye, Captain, I'll be your eye for sure." And he starts calling out an estimate, which is for a man with one eye, freakishly accurate. 500 yards.
Weather
400
shows him
yards.
to be the one to eye in the sky. I don't know if it just makes you feel like we're in control. I'm kind of just like keeping the ship steady, keeping the wheel steady. Yeah, I just want him to keep calling out the numbers like you were.
Yep. All right. So you're just gonna.
And I'm gonna run the ship ashore.
Yep. Sick.
Because you said I've seen the other boats, so I'm
Yep.
like I'm not worried like
Exactly.
the island. There's other boats.
Yep.
Okay.
So let me just gonna roll a perception check for my boy, your first mate here. All right, your eye in the sky calls out to you, Captain. There's little folk running around. Oh my word, Captain! This is not gonna be hard at all. And as your ship approaches, you very very subtly start to hear the sound of drums, and they kind of the closer you get, the louder you get, and um, Weller starts calling out to you, Captain. I think I see them drumming, and they're just doing something very odd. Go ahead and give me another perception check. This time with advantage because you're actively searching, actively seeking to discover what these drummers are doing.
The 17.
Nice. So you notice that these are very short, individuals. They are all have very odd shaped hats that kind of like go up, and they all look kind of pointy, but they don't look the same pointy. They just look very odd, and you see a couple of them off in the distance in front of the drummers, like waving their arms around very oddly, and you don't see fingers on their arms. Like, what is that? And you look a little closer at that 17 and you notice it's almost like they're wearing these long arm sleeves, gloves. What really are they? And you really start to look at them, and they almost look like tentacles. And they start dancing in unison, and every movement they make is together. And as your ship comes into that cove, you can feel it start to move in a very unnatural way, especially for how close your ship is to the shore. And then all of a sudden, off the starboard bow, a giant tentacle comes, and then another off the port side. And they kind of lie in wait there, almost as if they're waiting to see what you will do next. It seems like these villagers have been kept safe for so long by a very large sea creature of the deep.
Would I these tentacles before or these people before?
Um, you've never heard of these people before, but you've been on the sea for many a years, and you're like, "Yep, that's a kraken. That's a kraken."
That makes sense. Yeah.
Go ahead and roll
Uh,
me your initiative, and then we'll have a little fun.
10.
Nice. I will roll. So how we'll do
Look.
this, because of how many because of like how many different moving parts and pieces that there are, you'll have your own initiative. Your entire crew will have one initiative. The Kraken arms, no matter how many that there may or may not be, will also operate on one initiative, and then the villagers will also operate on their own initiative. So with your initiative as a 10, that's about right. You're right about the middle. The first at the top of the round will be the villagers, and they will just continue. The drumming villagers will just continue drumming, and the dancers will just continue dancing. And then we will go to some tentacles here. And one tentacle is going to move right up to the side of your ship, and it is going to attempt to grab one of your crew members, and it will grab one of your crew members. The second tentacle on the other side of the ship will do the same, and it will attempt to grab a member of your crew, and it will not be able to do that. Your crew member was slippery and slimy and was able to get free. And that brings us to your turn.
Yeah. When the tentacles come free to grab guys or whatnot, does the boat free or are we just stuck?
The boat is currently free. You only see the two tentacles, and it does seem like your boat is still on course.
So we got to be within what, 100, 200 yards?
Yeah, you're about 200 yards from shore. It's not very far away. You've been moving. Your mast is down. The wind is at your back. You're closing that gap quick.
I want to get Weller, and I'm like, what did you call this island again?
Oh, that's a great question. It's been called a lot of things, but now that I think about it, so there were a couple people in the pub calling it Trap Rap Island, but I guess now that makes a lot more sense. Captain, my bad, really.
And I want to turn, and the one tentacle that's flailing in the air now, correct?
Yep, it's just.
There's a tentacle that missed. Okay. What is behind me on the ship? Like, what is it? Kind of got the steps back up. Is it that classic look, or what's kind of the vibe of the ship?
Yeah. So you're up about as high as you can be on the deck of the ship. That's where the I know the name of that. I've said it like 1,000 times playing Sea of Thieves. It just escapes me. The big giant wheel on the ship. That's where you're on. So you're
Any
kind of up. There's two sets of stairs on each side of you that go down to that like main deck level, and that's where the tentacles are
okay,
kind of whipping around.
there any place for me to anything for me to get behind?
Yeah, so you honestly, you're a well successful pirate. So there are cannons on both sides of you. Even up here on this higher level, there's a cannon on your left and a cannon on your right, and they're decent size. So you could easily run up behind them and crouch down if you wanted.
Are those cannons at all fireable?
Yes,
Willie, grab the wheel and keep us straight and ready all the cannons, but I don't want to shoot them yet, if that's
sure,
possible.
that's 100% possible.
Sending out to the crew of ready the cannons.
You call out to the crew and they immediately begin to mobilize, running up and down, um, just slamming these big just cannonballs into these long cannons, getting the powder ready, not firing, but just awaiting the orders. They're not going to make any moves without your command. Some people have made that mistake in the past and suffered the consequences, but they move to man and ready the cannons immediately.
I'm gonna like basically like sit with like now my back against that cannon, looking out over the sea off the back of the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I want to rolling down the river.
Are you looking for a song to sing?
I just want to sit there. I'm gonna sit there. I'm just gonna start just singing it to myself. But I want all those guys to basically using my legendary action, um,
Yes.
humming it and singing it as we are kind of doing this fight. What's the rhythm of a sea shanty?
I don't freaking know.
So
Yep.
I'm just gonna kind of sit down back against the cannon, kind of looking out and take a deep breath, and just slowly start humming to myself. Older when I sailed, I sailed. My name was Astrolder when I sailed. My name was Astrolder. God's law I did forbid, and so wickedly I did. When I sailed, because my name is Astrolder. Name is Astrolder. When I sailed, I sailed. When I sailed, because my name is Astrolder. When I sailed, God did forbid, and I so wickedly when I did when I sailed. I'm just gonna kind of like just like be humming that and singing that more and more uh, out to myself. And so I'm gonna rally the crew. Um, so this will include three friendly characters within 15 feet who are going to start singing the song with me, and they gain a +1 to their next attack roll for every active participant who is singing
Yeah.
along.
So they're a part of your crew. They've done it before. They all start singing with you. So you +3 active participants means +4. So your crew will get a +4 to their attack. Um, uh, yeah, we'll get a +4 to their attack, whenever that may be.
Yeah, I just want to like almost like close my eyes, uh, calm in this moment. But I'm closing my eyes and kind of like focusing, and I'm just singing that song. Yeah. So I want to be. Can I be hidden?
If you want to stay hidden behind that cannon, go ahead and make a stealth check for me.
A 9.
Okay, so you feel really hidden. Like you you
Okay.
as far as you know, you feel like really, really hidden. And that brings us to your crew's turn. So your crew does respond to you. So whatever you command them to do, that's what they're going to do for their turn. So as of right now, they've mobilized, they've sung their shanty with you, and they're just kind of waiting for your next orders. If it's to, flee or retreat or fire the cannons or whatever, they're just kind of waiting on you.
And have we gotten closer to shore at this point?
Yep, you're probably maybe closer to like 90 feet from shore at this point because you're moving quick. As this progresses, you're moving right along. There are members of your crew who obviously don't want you to crash your ship, so they've taken the necessary um, precautions to slow the ship as you do approach shore, not get too close too fast. They haven't like dropped anchor yet, but they are making sure that you don't come in too hot too fast.
Out to the crew, ready the cannons, don't drop anchor, run it ashore, boys. And as soon as you feel the thud of that sand, you rip those cannons.
That's amazing. So that's exactly what they do. Weller on his turn is going to just he's going to spring into action. He's actually going to whip out his hook and he is going to make a couple of attacks on the tentacle that has wrapped your crewmate before you move too quick. He's going to miss on his first and he's going to hit on his second, and he's going to do 12 points of damage to that tentacle, and the tentacle almost like riles in pain and drops the crewmate onto the deck. He starts gasping for breath and breathing heavily as the ship kind of starts sailing on. You do, as your back is to that cannon, and you are looking back beyond the backside of the ship, you start to see a few more tentacles pop up and start to make their way closer to you, almost chasing you to shore. But that brings us to the villagers. A few of them kind of run out to shore with a few very non-glamorous weapons, very just sharpened sticks, big rocks, not very, definitely not ready for war. And that's what they kind of do on their turn. The Kraken does try to keep up with you and chase you down as your ship just barrels towards shore. And on your turn is when we will say that you do hit the shore at a healthy speed, which I'll say will unleash the held actions by the crewmates to unleash the cannons. So I'm just gonna make like a ton. I'm gonna do a ton of rolling here, and just kind of make it make sense to where those cannons would have been pointed in on the sides. Because I don't know if you know anything about like D&D cannonballs, but like they hit freaking hard.
Which is not only just crashing into whatever's in front of us, whether that be people
Yeah,
and or
some of it's people, some of it's a
and then
few
those
smaller
it's just
boats.
ripping. Yeah, those keep ripping. They're gonna just also potentially take out people slash
Yep,
destroy things.
yep,
Um, it's very it's my view of fireworks.
yes, 100%. So these cannonballs just start flying through, and a couple of them actually hit where these performers were doing what seems to be some sort of ritual. Drumsticks go flying, dancers fly through the air. Absolutely, these fireworks, these explosions annihilate what was this organized line of performers. And with you have the perfect perspective right around as this kraken tentacles reach your ship. The drums no longer sounding, they almost stop to a halt and just sink into the water. Your man in the crow's nest calls to you, Captain, I think it's going away. I don't think it's sticking around much longer. And what was intended to be a combat based puzzle is now swimming away, essentially.
I want to stand. I want to like. So I obviously feel the thought, like the ships. Assuming we ran ashore,
Yep. Ran ashore, the ship is stopped. And it's
so
your
I want to
turn.
dust myself off, and your eye never seems to miss a thing, my friend. And I want to turn to the people. I, pirate Astrill Rolder, I've come to take what is mine, and because we're friends, sorry we didn't get the brake changed on it on the ship. It's not my ship; it's my buddy's ship.
I
Because we're gonna be friends now, you can just call me Golfrey.
you you see these like villagers like looking up at you. They're very small, don't have a lot of clothing to them, very primitive weaponry. You look over, you see just an older villager holding the body of a younger one, just looking at you in like complete disbelief. Uh, Finally, one older one comes to you, kind of approaches the ship on the beach, and just says, "Oh, are you're trying to be our friend? You just killed half of our village."
I meant no harm to you, sir. But
No
I was simply
harm.
just running from your pet. You should keep the thing on a leash or something.
We do have a leash. It's a ritual, and then you killed the people who knew how to do the ritual, and now we have no ritual, no kraken, and from what you're telling me, we're just supposed to all be friends.
My buddy in the crow's above, he's got one eye, so from his perspective, you can see it from his perspective. You all look scared, and so we'll take payment for getting rid of the Kraken for you and protecting you. Well, you seem seaworthy. You can join my ship.
It was our kraken. You didn't protect. Oh, he just kind of waves his hand, and other scared villagers just start going into their huts, and two by two they just start pulling out these woven baskets are just filled with gold, chunks of gold, primitive gold, pieces of gold, nothing like whittled down into coins, but just in its raw ore space, just primitive hunks of pure gold, and they just start bringing it out and bringing it out and bringing it out. One of your crewmates goes into one of their huts because he's just as baffled as you, and he says, "Captain, there's tunnels down there. Just they're just pulling it out like it's goes on for miles." And why don't we do this? Why don't you go ahead and roll me a d20?
Remember, I rolled in a d20 was 12.
Awesome. I rolled a 4. That brings us to 16. So, all in all, they bring out 16 of these large baskets that it takes two people to carry at a time. Each basket holds 1,000. It is valued at 1,000 gold. So your score is about 16,000 currency of gold. Your crew is just like throwing hats, doing dancing jigs, singing their own songs. They just start piling this gold onto your ship. Easily one of the biggest scores of your modern pirate career. Captain, this is the happiest day of my life. Weller says, What are we even gonna do with all this gold? What are we even gonna do with it?"
Fix those teeth of yours, my friend.
Aye, Captain, I will. Heck, there's probably enough gold here to get old our crow's nest boy a new eye, maybe two.
I don't want to confuse him. He seemed to really hone it in with one eye.
Your aye, Captain,
But
is
we
wise as
get you
always, yes.
probably get you another ship. That might help too.
That would mean a lot to me, Captain. You're
Ship, and we fix this one up, and you can have this ship.
Well, why can't I would like the new ship because this you took this, you kind of captained this ship. So I feel like it makes sense if I would get the new ship and you would just keep this ship.
We'll talk about it later,
We're
Weezer.
talking
And I
about
want
it.
to
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just kind of and I want to can I get down off the ship?
Yep. You can?
So I want to jump off the ship and land Avengers style,
Oh, sick.
um, but not on purpose. That's just I caught myself from falling face. Um, and I want to ask, who is this island? Who's
We've always been here. As long as our history goes back, nobody owns this island. We just live here.
I make you a deal? I have gold on this ship right now. Give you 10,000 of it, and I buy this island.
So just so I'm clear, you sail to our island. You kill our people. You send away our kraken. You take our gold, and then you buy our island with the gold you just stole from us. And then you want to live here, and we continue to find gold for you.
I probably won't live here, my friend. I'll just leave one of my crew here.
Oh, fantastic, yes. Sounds like a great deal for us. And if we don't agree to this deal, what exactly happens?
Because you no longer have a kraken to protect you, and you've discussed openly the destruction that's already happened. I would just hate to walk down that path, just to have that. We don't have to talk about it.
I,
You
s-
understand, old man.
I suppose I do. I suppose we don't have much of a choice in the matter, so we'll agree to your terms, Captain.
A fantastic deal. What was that number? 8,000 gold. I'll make sure we
Uh,
get it off the ship for you.
I think you said 10, but it doesn't matter because we would just give it back to you the next time you passed through. So, sure, 8,000 gold works.
What would you say? What is your name, by the way?
I have no name. I am called the one who was. It's what it would be in your tongue. This is my son. It would interpret to the one who is.
So I'm going to call you one. I'm going to call him two. And what we'll do is two can be second in command here on this island.
Right around this time, you hear Weller call from the ship. We're all loaded up, Captain.
Is the ship drivable, sailable still?
Yep.
I want to go back to the one who was. How old is the one who is his kid?
The one who is looks like maybe you guess like mid-30s.
I'm going to leave one of my crew here. They're going to kind of run the show. Gold keeps flowing. We keep digging the ore and see what happens. Um, I'm sure my man would be willing to learn your dance and help bring the Kraken back to protect, say, the one who is, or the name he likes called Two. You say Two joins the crew.
You can take my son with you, I suppose. I will say, took many ages to learn, and it took many ages to incite the Kraken to live among us as we did, and required many sacrifices on our behalf. You see, I don't think he's coming back. I think we're just kind of here now by ourselves.
I'm going to assume you guys are safe. You know what? I'm going to leave one of the cannons here with you guys.
We don't know how to use that, but we appreciate the gesture.
My crew member here, you can just call him Cannon, and he's gonna.
Okay, that's canon. He's
Oh,
canon. Two doesn't speak basic. He doesn't speak much of anything, but he kind of guess what's going on, and he starts heading towards the ship. And some of your crewmates kind of um, laugh as he kind of steps on board. He really is only about 3.5 feet tall. He There are halflings in this world, but he looks almost like a stubbier version of one. He doesn't quite look like a halfling that maybe even some of your crew members are halflings, and even they seem to just be just overall bigger than this smaller humanoid creature. But he gets on the ship and just kind of starts looking around, and one of the crew members just kind of starts teaching him how to, tie off a couple riggings, and kind of gives him a mop and a bucket, and just kind of tells him to start getting to work, and he just kind of effectively joins the crew.
Perfect. And I want to look at Chief One and say, "All right, you take care, my friend." Look at
He,
my crew member and just nod, and I want to turn and walk you back to the boat.
he just kind of calls out to you and says, "I can honestly say we hate you, and we wish you never came here. That's true. Those are the true words we speak." And he just kind of turns around and starts kind of getting to what would be like the cleanup of his mostly in shambles village.
Once back on ship, I want to find two, and I'll go over and I want to kneel down in front of him. I have something for you. Run down to my room, and I want to a coat for him.
Oh, it is.
Cut.
Yeah, yeah,
I want to cut the tail back so it
yeah.
fits him ish.
Uh huh.
And I said, "You're gonna follow me around."
He just kind of he just kind of nods at you and just kind of
I'm
starts
gonna look
following
at.
you around, almost like a little sidekick. All right, you start heading out to sea, and you begin making some pretty good time. Y- Actually, the wind is working with you, but you're moving like someone with 16,000 pieces of raw 16,000 worth of raw gold on your ship. So you're not moving super fast, but
We only have 8,000. I left 8,000 for Chief
oh,
One.
that's right. That's true. That's true. So
I bought the island.
yeah, our I think also our math is all over the place wrong, because the people can light me up in the comments for that. But anyways,
Definitely said 10 initially, and then I purposely just set at 8
yeah, and I
in
think
the
I
second.
rolled
Yeah.
it out to be 160,000. So even if you left 8,000, I think there's still so much gold.
Wait,
um,
that's even better.
yeah. So as you continue to sail on, you hear your one of your good buddies call from the crow's nest. Man overboard off the starboard bow! Man overboard! And a few uh, crew members run to the starboard bow, and one grabs a rope, and they kind of call out to you. Sure enough, Captain, there's someone down there floating. They bring him in. They lasso him. One of the guys from his old ranching days is great with a lasso, and lassos him up, and they're able to pull him in, and as they pull him over the railing onto the boat, he is even then just starting to sputter out some water. What he's wearing is a dead giveaway. He is wearing a blue coat with silver trim and silver embroidery on it, and silver buttons down the center as well. He his hair is pulled back tight to the side of his head, and on his shoulder is a crest of a shark with a long harpoon running through the middle of it. A lot of the crew members recognize this insignia and start whispering together. You actually recognize it too. This is a common patch for a local group of privateers or pirate hunters. Um, Sometimes they're pirate hunters, sometimes they're just hired security or mercenaries, but they're known as the Dead Sharks, and they
Sharks.
often travel these waters. um, and for various odd jobs or various reasons. And he starts coming to a little bit. His eyes very puffy and red, and he just says, "Water, I need water." And all of your crew just kind
I
of
want
turns
to
and looks at you for what to do next.
go grab him some water.
Yep. So crewmate runs out, grabs a ladle, dunks it in a barrel, brings it back, and gives it to him. He just absolutely just consumes it, and he starts to kind of settle down a little bit, and he starts to kind of look around and realize, oh, and he starts looking very, very nervous and very, very scared.
Down close to him, like almost like in a not like take a knee, kind of like a dad would to a son.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to lean in. I'm kind of far from home,
He just looks at you and he says, he doesn't say anything. He just kind of,
and I intimidate him.
yeah, go ahead and roll an intimidation on him with advantage. Definitely with advantage because you have an entire pirate crew with you.
D3.
So he just kind of looks up at you and says, I know who you are, but I'm not going to talk. Unless you can promise my safety.
What would we need to keep you safe from?
From you, you're one of the dread pirates on these seas. They call you Goffrey.
I kind of get like a little smirk. Like there's just take a little something inside of me to know that he knew who I was. You were just floating in the water.
No, that storm that came through. We we were running a pretty heavy ship, so we couldn't outrun it, and it threw us around quite a bit. Our center mast snapped in half, and after that, all chaos broke loose. People were getting flown overboard. I was tied down to the opposite side of that mast, and as it fell, I hit the water pretty hard. I was luckily enough was able to find some driftwood, but I think I've been out here all night and whatever time's left in the day, just drifting.
Do you know who our crew is looking for you?
I doubt it. They probably are just gonna continue on once they repair the mast. I'm not much of a man of importance on my ship. I'm just a crewman.
Say your name was.
My name's Percy, sir.
After your mother, who's that? Is that a family name?
Yes, sir. On my father's side, and his father before, we were all men of the sea. All. And he kind of pauses and just looks at you. Pirate hunters, sir.
Oh, I would call myself a pirate. I wouldn't say that feels like a dirty word, doesn't it? Didn't you feel dirty when you said that?
He just nods. Yes, 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 sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah.
sir.
We don't have to use the word pirate or pirate hunter. That you just call me dirty.
Oh, okay. Um, when's the next time you're going to shore, Godfrey? Because I thank you for your kindness, but would like to return home at some point, if that's all right with you.
Of course. Well, where's home?
Oh, we were headed to make port in the capital city of Legacy. Me and my crew were just delivering some cargo towards that direction.
Cargo. What's the cargo?
Um, he kind of looks around at your crew, and your crew just like kind of doubles down on like the intimidation, and they, start pulling their cloaks back to reveal their swords and their guns. And he says, "It was a shipment of gold the king had ordered for the war efforts in in the kingdom of Legacy. We were headed towards the capital city, and the ports there. Um, uh, I don't know how much, but enough to make it hard to sail through a storm. I can guarantee you that.
We'll get you back to your ship. You said that they went to Legacy, right?
Yeah, they were headed
That's not too
towards
far
that.
from here, right?
Uh, Weller leans in. Aye, Captain, I'd say that's only a full day's sail from there, and if you haven't made it yet, and you're weighed down by lack of a mast, you're probably only a few hours out from here right now. Surely we can help this poor lad reunite with his crew ready quick. Yes, sir, I'd like that quite a bit.
Kind of stand up, rubs his hands together. He says, "All right, we're on a rescue mission at this point to get our year back to friends and family and crew." Um, Weller, you set sails heading in that direction. Um,
Aye, Captain.
I mean, he's basically probably been just standing behind me the whole time.
Yep.
I put my hand on Two's back and I'm gonna kneel down next to him. All right, you have a very mission. As I'm talking, I've kind of pulled out basically some elongated like chain and latches. I would like to chain him to Percy.
Nice. Okay, so he's like chained to Percy.
Yeah, like I want to like clip it on. I'm assuming Two won't really fight me on it. I just want to like clip it onto his. I'm assuming
Yep.
his thigh or his bicep. Like just clip it around him, and I just want to like. I'm gonna kneel down and be like, and Percy, I want you to meet Two. He doesn't say much, but he's my most best friend, and I feel like you two might just hit it off and become the best of friends. So now Percy and Two are hand chained together.
Yeah, I like it. So, they are chained together and they just kind of like stare at each other awkwardly. And Weller gets the whole crew just full steam ahead. Just hoist the mainsail, put some speed in the sail, boys. We can make some pace. We could end the day even richer than we thought. I mean, rescue mission, yeah. And the crew's, yeah. And they sail towards the kingdom of Legacy, and it doesn't take long at all. And your friend in the crow's nest, oh One Eye, calls out, "Ahead, Captain! A ship dead in the water. The mast broken down. We'll be on it in only a few minutes, Captain. It's not moving. It's dead in the water."
Has Percy kind of been standing there and
Yep, him and Two are just kind of standing, and yeah, when he hears this, he kind of pokes his head up and kind of looks out to see, and like he almost seems like unsure because he was supposed to be dead and now he's alive and chained to this tiny little man and on the ship of a pirate, but he's not actually supposed to call him a pirate, and maybe they're friends now. He's just all very confused. It's been a long day for Mr. Percy.
I just want to look over at Percy and say, I'm assuming this is your ship ahead, correct?
He kind of squints. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yes.
When we get closer, uh, I'm to call out and introduce myself. I feel like that's the kind thing to do. Want you to wave. We've rescued you. Remember that, Percy? We saved you.
Yes,
We
sir.
pulled you out of the water, Percy.
Yes, sir. Yes. Of course. Yes. I understand.
I'm all about the flair of dramatics,
Yep.
right? So I don't want to kill him.
Sure.
So what's your philosophy in terms of rolling for just having it happen or any of that kind of stuff when it comes to like hack his foot off or like you know what I mean? Just let's just like
Yeah, if you were to, um, I would just, I mean, something like that is just pretty straightforward. If you want to chop his foot off,
I'm just going to tell you what I want to do then.
yeah,
We approach the ship.
yep. Your
We
ship
can fight the.
sails
Yep.
closer to the this ship, and I'll say this: you as you begin to think of how you want to approach this, how do you want to approach this? You notice it's a very large ship, and there's one, two, there's only about three guys on the ship right now.
Because I want to kind of roll up. I want to introduce myself. At some point, I want to ask him to like wave. Like, and as he waves, I want to like just almost make it look like an accident. I just like hack his hand off. Like I almost like I want to
Yeah.
do it to where like they almost ask us to set him free, and I just be like, "Oh yeah, of course," and I just want to like just like take the hand off that the so the chain falls off his arm, but now he's like lost his hand.
Okay,
Like
so you roll up and
flare of
catch
like
the attention of these workers, and they kind of start squinting at you, and you do that. Percy stands up and starts to wave and does what you told him to do. He just starts calling out, "Hey, I'm alive! These are my friends. I'm alive!" And you kind of begin to wave with your sword in hand. Um, Go ahead and roll me a performance check to see how like accidental you can make it look like you chopped his hand off.
nat 20. I could take a picture if you want.
This actually, I believe that's our first nat 20 of our prologue episodes. So congratulations. So
Let's go.
Um, yeah, you just kind of like almost make it look like you're just drawing your sword to hold it straight in the air as like a gesture or a bow. And as you do, you out of the corner of your eye, you scope it so you know exactly what you're doing. But from afar, it just looks like all they can see is kind of like, okay, they see a guy. Oh, yeah, that's Percy waving, and that guy's pulling his sword. What just fell out of Percy's? Why is he screaming like that? What's happened? Did he cut his hand off? What's going on? And they just like, he calls the other guys over to the side, and now there's three of them up on the side of the rail, all kind of without their uniform because they were trying to repair the mast. So, they took their jackets off and threw them aside. As you approach and get closer, they are quite confused exactly what is happening, and they kind of call out to you. Are you? Is he okay? What happened to Percy?
Kind of seeing Percy's hand fall, I kind of have this on my face, and Percy's, I'm assuming, screaming at this point.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm assuming of shocked and maybe a little scared, just utterly confused.
Yeah, two is like
Um,
having like a no, like he hasn't blinked in a while. Like he's going into shock.
I want Percy is perfectly safe. He's been set free. We're going to be returning him shorthanded.
They kind of look at each other and kind of look back and forth and aren't quite sure exactly what to do or how to approach it, but they just say, uh, bring him aboard, and if you can help us out in any way you can, we'll, I guess, be more than happy to pay you for your trouble. We've got quite a few troubles of our own, as you can see.
So to where like we do the classic like throw the bridge between and
Yep.
for them
Yep,
basically,
you
or
totally can.
okay.
You pull up the side, and a couple of your crew members lay down some planks to walk across. So you're walking across. Do you bring any of your crew with you? Just
Me,
bring
Weller, Percy.
just so you walk across, and these three crew members kind of start getting a little antsy because I can like see that he's clearly hurt. It looks like a pretty fresh wound. They kind of like go ahead and give me an insight check on them.
It is a 9.
A 9. All right. So with a 9, it's still a few clouds in the sky. Um, Especially the storm really wasn't that long ago. So it's not out of the ordinary that a shadow would block the sun for a moment. With a 9, these guys seem antsy, but it's obvious that they're in trouble. The mast of their ship is broke. What looks like a ship that would need a full crew currently only has 3 members standing on it, 4 really, and you, Percy, you just brought him here. With a 9, you don't hear the sound of footprints hitting the deck. With a 9, you don't realize what's about to happen. All of a
Okay.
sudden, that cloud that was blocking out the sun seems to get bigger and bigger, and a shadow engulfs your ship as well as the ship that you're on. And from the sky calls a ship named the Heaven's Wrath, captained by a real life person that I play D&D with. His character's name is Gunther, and his first mate is another character that I play with, run by another friend of mine named Zod. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, a tiny little figure just appears, almost as if he was invisible, and just starts yelling at you. I am Zod! You will fear me, and we will collect the bounty on your head. And before you know it, you turn around, and your crew is frozen stiff in some sort of time spell. The trap doors, or the all the doors of the ship that you're with the broken mast, just kind of open, and soldiers start pouring out of it, all with their muskets pointed towards you and your crew. Even Weller kind of gets caught on his heels, not knowing exactly what to do. Number 2 pees himself a little bit because his day has gone from 0 to 230 miles an hour so fast. And all
Too.
you are now surrounded by all these
I
men
love to.
with muskets just pointed at you, all with that same patch and that same uniform. And as they settle into surrounding you, you just hear these boots come walking up stairs, big and heavy, thick, and a figure appears. He's got long blonde hair tied back tight. He wears the same jacket, except all his trim, his buttons, and the embroidery are gold. He almost has a flowy style about him. He's not human, he's a genasi of some sort, and he approaches you and he says, with his arms behind his back in a perfect posture, he says, yes, the pirate lord Jeffrey, is it? Seems that you have a couple of choices here. You can quietly surrender, or we can kill every member of your crew before you loudly surrender. I will leave the choice up to you.
What's the bounty on my head? Again? What is this?
Well, you see,
Okay.
you, Jaffrey, or whatever your name is, you have gathered quite a reputation around here. People have been speaking your name in pubs. People have been speaking about your crew and the seemingly random acquisitions. I've spoken to a long list of well decorated captains who it is seemed that you have taken their coats, and that is the least of the crimes of which you are charged for on these waters, including and not limited
Where did you get
to.
your?
I'm sorry, are you talking to me?
Listening, sir. My apologies.
Yes. including but not limited to uh, actions that resemble piracy. So, again, the choice is yours. Which way do you want to do this?
I'm actually King Goffrey, and I just rescued young Percy here. And I mean, he can speak for himself. We found him out at sea, missing a hand, and we've just. Where did you say you got your jacket?
Private Percy, confirm. Percy stands a little straighter, a little taller, and he says, "I, Captain Shazar." This indeed is the Pirate King Goffrey, aka Scourge of the Sea, aka Kraken Killer and Ship Stealer, aka Coat Taker. Yes, identity
Ah,
confirmed, mission accomplished, sir. And the captain looks at you and says, "Yes, I am Captain Sharzar. I am very good at many things and excellent at one in particular, and that's hunting down those who wish to take things that don't belong to them, specifically on in and around the water. I got my jacket by being better than everyone else, by being faster than everyone else, by being smarter than everyone else, including scum like you."
my only request is I have a young boy on the boat. Make sure he at least has a nice meal. Make sure his tummy's full. I looked down at Wilbur. I'm like, first mate here, Wilbur. He do what you must with him. I'm sorry, Wilbur. They're gonna do stuff to you. And as I say that, I reach for my guns inside my jacket.
You reach for your guns inside your jacket with a twinkle in your eye, and Weller does the same. He picks up what you're laying down and he says, "Aye, Captain." And he reaches for his weapons as well. And your brain tells your body to pull your muskets out and go out in a blaze of glory. Your brain tells your body not to give up, not to surrender like that. That's what your brain says. But your body does nothing. And Captain Sharzar walks closer to you and he says, "Did you think I would really give you a choice? The moment you stepped on this ship, your body does whatever I will it to do, including nothing." And he pulls out his sword and holds it to your neck and he says, "But don't worry. You won't die today. No, you will face justice just like everyone else." And he hits you with the butt of his blade, and you are knocked unconscious. You may have guessed that over the next couple of days, you are falling in and out of consciousness. As you come to, you notice that you are shackled, and a guard walks up with a cloth drenched in a chemical and holds it over your mouth and nose, and you breathe in the foul stink and pass out yet again. You awaken one more time to a searing pain on your arm as something hot and feels sharp is pressed into it, and you're a little bit more aware of your surroundings as you kind of phase in and out after not have eating in several days, not drinking water in several days, and you're forcefully drugged by two guards down a long hallway, and they open the bars to an empty cell and throw you in and slam it shut. And you stand up and you look around, and you're in a small cell with no one in there with you. There are two beds and a bucket on the floor. And that is where we will end this session.
Whisper to myself something real quick.
You can, absolutely.
Can I just whisper under my breath? They didn't kill me.